here. They're here to see what their friends and family have been working on. This is a storytelling showcase. And let me tell you a little bit about what storytelling is. Storytelling is not stand-up. We don't tell bad jokes like what's the most, wow. We're also older than most people, and we forget our jokes. Now, what's the most condescending bear? Panda. We don't do that. And we don't make fun of people. We make fun of ourselves. We talk about ourselves. So a lot of times people ask me, how old are you? And I'll say, well, I remember when Alaska and Hawaii became part of the United States. There was only 48 states when I was born. And they kind of like, what? But anyway, so what you're going to see are stories brought to you by each of the students that have been working on these for the last 8-9 weeks. And what these stories are about are true stories about them. Everything they're going to be saying is about something that's happened to them. Now, we have this being videotaped because one of the performers may be used in a divorce case because I'm sorry, that's why I'm not stand-up. That was supposed to be a joke. Okay. All right. So what you're going to hear, again, is stories from each of the storytellers. And right now I want you to give a big hand to Joe Yoder!
All right, hold it down out there, hold it down. In 1976, was anybody else alive in this room in 1976 besides me? Okay, 2 or 3 people, okay. I was on top of the world. I was working at KAUZ TV as an ad rep. I was #1 rep. I was president of the ad club, and I was driving a Porsche, and I was single. I was living the big life. I went to day at work one morning, and I looked around the office, and I realized that everyone in the office was my dad's age. And I thought, this is not going to work. They are never going to make me the boss. I'm never going to make any big money here. And if I'm not careful, in 30 years, I'll wake up and I'll still be a rep at KAUZ TV. I had more ambition than that. And so I decided, you know what? If you want to be somebody in advertising, you got to go to New York City. And I had never been there. Okay, but I knew I had to go. And so, wrote my resume up, packed a suitcase, got a plane ticket, and flew to New York City. And knocked on doors for an entire week. You know, knocking on doors, looking for a job. And here's what I heard. Mr. Yoder, you have no MBA. We never heard of Oklahoma State University, and we do not understand why anyone would even go there. You have no big agency experience. And frankly, Mr. Yoder, we think New York City will eat a small Oklahoma boy alive. Thank you very much. There's the door. Interview after interview after interview, and I got to tell you, I really thought I had it. Just tried, give my best shot, I'm going to quit. And then on Friday afternoon, I walked into BBDO Advertising, Baton Barton, Thurston Osborne, now known as Omnicom. And I walked in the door, and they took a look at me and said, you know what, you remind us of a guy who used to work here a long time ago. You have fire in the belly, Mr. Yoder. We're going to give you a shot. Yes. Grabbed my bag, flew back home, got the DFW airport, drove straight to Oklahoma to see my mother and father. Told them what I was doing, and they were not happy. Not happy. My dad pulled me aside, and he gave me that good Oklahoma hometown advice. Joe Mike, do not go to New York City because them people are crazy up there. I said, Dad, I think there must be some nice people somewhere. And my mother pulled me aside and said, Joe Mike, whatever you do, don't marry a Yankee. I said, okay, not much danger of that, Mom. But anyway, I went back to KAUZ TV on Monday, turned in my paperwork, and 2 weeks later I was done. Now, I packed a couple of big suitcases, the biggest ones I could get, because I was going to have to live out of these suitcases until the rest of my furniture and stuff arrived. I go to DFW Airport, I get on a plane, and I fly to LaGuardia. If you were back at LaGuardia in those days, you went to a taxi stand. Anybody ever done that? Yeah. You just get in line, taxi manager calls up a taxi, chair comes up, you get in it. I was behind this very sweet little couple. Taxi man whistled up a taxi, and this guy comes up to his taxi, and he gets out of his taxi, and this is the biggest human being I've ever seen in my life. This guy is like 6'7", 300 pounds. He blocked the sun when he got out, you know. I'm thinking, damn. And he comes over and grabs this couple's luggage and says, "Where are you going?" And they said, "We're going to Jackson Heights." Well, Jackson Heights is just on the other side of the highway, like a $5 ride. And he says, "Nope, I ain't taking them." And he sets their suitcases down. Well, when he got out of his taxi, the taxi manager had whistled up my taxi. The lady roared up. She gets out, and she's about 5'2", 110 pounds, soaking wet. And she hears this conversation, and she says, "Wait a minute, if he doesn't take them, I'm going to have to take them." And so she lights into this guy like a chicken on a June bug. She starts undressing from top to bottom, one side down the other, goes after his mom, his dad, his grandpa, everybody in the family. And then she says, "I'll turn you into the Port Authority because it's illegal to refuse a fare." And the big guy goes, "Oh, crap, okay." Grabs her suitcases and throws them in his trunk, and off he goes. And then I turn and realize I'm getting in the cab with this crazy woman. And she is not finished with this guy yet. She comes over, grabs my 100-pound suitcases, throws them in the back of her trunk like they're some kind of Gucci bag or something, and says, "Get in!" And I jump in this cab, and she's not finished with this guy. She jams that checker down into gear, and she's chasing him out of the airport. And he's zigging, and she's zagging, and I'm reaching for the straps on either side. Remember that? And I'm hanging here from these straps, and she's zigging and zagging and zigging and zagging, trying to get around him and yell more obscenities at him. And then it hit me. These people are crazy. Holy smokes. What am I doing? And I had to make a decision. Do I tell this taxi driver to turn around and take me back to the airport and slink back to Oklahoma with my tail between my legs? Or do I take control of the situation? I said, I'm not going back to Lindsay, Oklahoma. I'll tell you that right now. And so I look at this lady and I said, "Stop! This has got to stop, please. I've got to get into New York City." "Oh, okay. And so she lets up the barrage with this attack. And me being the astute, observant guy that I am, I'm looking around this taxi, and it's decorated in strange and funny, it's funny stuff. Dream catchers, Indian blankets, jewelry, different kinds of things. And I'm thinking, wait a minute. This woman is American Native. And I look at her and said, "Ma'am, by any chance are you an American Native?" And she said, "Yes, I'm Iroquois." And I said, "Guess what? I'm part Cherokee." Yes. And all of a sudden, we're now blood brothers and sisters. I'm part of the family. And as we're driving in, the atmosphere totally changed. She's telling me which neighborhoods to live in. Live in that one, don't live in that one. Go there, don't go there. And where to find the American Indian Consulate. Got to BBDO, got out, she grabbed my suitcases, put them on the sidewalk. I gave her a $20 bill. She gave me a big hug and drove off. And I thought, wow, this is amazing. And I spent 4 years in New York City. So all that stuff I had heard before, I made it go away. But my friends, one piece of advice I could give you. When you're traveling to strange and foreign and hostile territory, keep your eyes and ears open, because you just might find a blood brother or blood sister waiting for you. Thank you. Hold on. I forgot to say, I did break my mother's heart and married a Yankee.